So let's talk about how you want to be rich, right? You want to be wealthy, but more specifically, we're going to talk about how that's not going to happen. You're not going to do it, right? I mean, most people are never going to be rich, right? There's only a handful of reasons why. For those of you on the journey to become rich, become wealthy, you might want to practice some inversion, right? To look at how you might fail so that you can avoid those pitfalls. Knowing how to not become rich or wealthy helps you get there in the long run. So let's invert it. Let's see why most people are never going to be rich. One of the first things we're going to talk about here is that you're scared to fail in public, right? If you're unwilling to fail, sometimes publicly and even catastrophically, you stand a very little chance of ever becoming rich, right? It's number one for a reason. Talking about it first for a reason. It's that important. Fear is going to hold back the mass majority of people from ever trying to even become wealthy. And it's not just fear of failing, it's fear of failing in front of the people you love. It's fear of the embarrassment you'd suffer if you have to go back home broken with your tail between your legs. But the reality is, you fear a downside that doesn't usually exist. And to get rich, you gotta master that fear of failure. It's never gonna happen. So, one of the next things we're gonna talk about is you gotta stop thinking all the time about what other people think. Like, you gotta stop caring about what they're thinking. Because if you care what these other people think, it's not gonna happen. Right? To risk comfort for a chance at freedom takes a thick skin. Some people might kind of giggle or snicker or laugh at you behind your back at your audacity to go after something as foolish as, getting all this money, becoming rich, becoming wealthy, whatever it is. And sure, they might be right. They might be. But they might be wrong. And you can't let other people define your life. They have their path, you have yours. Don't let them dictate what's going on or what you're going to do. You know, and you don't want to worry your loved ones. I understand, right? If you cannot bear the thought of causing worry to your family, a spouse, a lover, you know, when you're going down a lonely, dangerous road rather than taking the safe option of a regular job, again, you're probably never going to become wealthy, right? The reality is most people don't care what you do, right? And if they do, they're going to get over it relatively quickly once you strike out on your own. At least, that's been the experience. But it especially helps, if your family or a spouse, if they're more positive of an influence, they're more courageous than you, right? Because they'll become allies in your journey, not obstacles, right? We don't want to fight anything going upstream. You can never let other people's anxieties influence your decisions. You need to surround yourself with people who are braver than you to help you keep moving forward. Now, one thing I have heard a lot of from other people is, I'm an artist first. I mean, if you have artistic inclinations and fear that the search for wealth is going to coarsen your talents or degrade them, yeah, just not gonna happen. You are either trying to get rich or you're not. You can't let anything come in between you and that payday, especially your art. If you're not willing to sacrifice what you do for commercial gain, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to get all that money you want. But that's okay. Becoming an artist that sticks to your truth, it's a good path. It's a noble, worthy path. It's just not one that usually ends in riches. I mean, it can, just not typically. There are exceptions, but the commercial that's where the money is, and that's where you want to go if you want to become wealthy. Another problem I see, I'm going to say on a daily basis, like every day, like almost every single day, is people just don't like to work hard. If you're not prepared to work longer hours than almost anyone you know, despite all the pokes and, you know, everything coming from your colleagues and your friends, it's not going to happen. right? Most of the time, you're going to build stuff in your spare time while working a full-time job, right? You have to want something bad enough that you make it happen no matter what. Hard work, it's a component of wealth creation. More important, though, is what you choose to work on and who you work with. Then add hard work to kick it up, a couple of gears, and add some more luck in there. Now, another one that we hear a lot, right? Deserve it. You don't think you deserve it. And if you cannot convince yourself that you are good enough to do something or good enough to become rich or wealthy, right? You're just like, oh, I'm not smart enough. It'll never happen. Or I'm not this or I'm not that. Come on. What are you doing? Most people want to be rich. They want to be wealthy. But, they don't really think they can do it. Right? It's like, I can't do that. I'm not like this person. Right? Now, this cognitive dissonance usually ends with the person resenting wealth creation as a whole. Right? A lot of people believe they can't make it. So they don't want any wealth creation to happen. They virtue signal by attacking the whole enterprise, saying stuff like, well, making money is evil. Money is the root of all evil. You shouldn't do it. If you think wealth creation is evil or that you don't deserve to have it happen to you, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're never going to get money. You're never going to be rich. You're never going to be wealthy, right? But once you start to see wealth creation as a freedom of your time and it's something that we all deserve, things can start changing real quick. Now, this is one that's been popular here pretty lately. I've been hearing this more and more. But it's a game. You got to see it as a game, but you don't. If you cannot treat your quest to get rich as a game, it's going to be a struggle. Because getting money is a game, right? Just let collecting coins and relics in a video game, right? Once you can sustain your basic needs like food and shelter, everything above and beyond that should be treated with a playful sense of adventure. It's not life or death. It's just a game of money, right? It's a beautiful game. We're playing ethically, rationally, morally, right? It's going to continue to make us all richer and richer until we have massive wealth creation for anybody who wants it. Wealth creation is a positive sum game. This just means the total gains and losses in the game are greater than zero, hence positive sum. No one wins at someone else's expense because there are more resources left over for everyone after the game is played. That's why wealth creation is a game worth playing. And the last thing, I want to reiterate on something. We talked about your failure. You're scared of a failure in public. Well, you're just scared of failure in general as well, right? That's how important it is. We want to re-talk about it, right? We're back to where we started, right? Fear, failure is why most people are never going to become wealthy. If you haven't openly battled with your fear, you haven't yet dealt with it. If you want some ideas on where to start, there's a bunch of stuff online about conquering fear. Just look up some articles, right? It's going to be one of the most important things you ever do. After a lifetime of, making money and, observing, better men and women than me who fell off, they started their journey and stopped midway, right? I'm convinced that the fear of failing in the eyes of the world is one of the single biggest impediments to amassing wealth, right? It's just don't be afraid, right? What you need to do is you need to master your fear of failure because anything is possible, right? And instead of letting the fear get the better of you, conquer it. Start now and complete this journey and make any goal you have easy. By conquering your fear, all those goals are going to be easy, right? So you're going to do that, and I promise, you're going to be surprised at how far you get and how fast it happens, right? Now, speaking of doing something fast, hurry up, quickly, subscribe to the channel, do it. Like the video, share the video. Nah, I'm just kidding. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'd appreciate it, though. I'd also appreciate catching you in the next video. But until then, y'all be safe.